First thing we're going to talk about here, top 10 transfers. Now, before I pull up this list, I want everybody to know, I mean in terms of the impact they're going to make to the team. They're going to come in, plug and play guys. I think these guys are going to do really well. So, if you think you've got a better list, you can put it in the chat. Go ahead. I'd love to have some discussion. You know what? Let me go ahead and just ask you guys in the chat while I'm here. Let me get interactive here. What's your top 10? Let's go ahead and ask you guys. Let's go ahead and ask you guys what your top 10 is. All right, so here we go. Let me pull up the list here. Top 10 transfers. I posted this on the Instagram the other day. If you follow Deep Shot Sports, you probably saw it, but let's go ahead and go over it. Let me take a sip of water. Got to stay hydrated. All right, number one on my list is Cam Coleman. Look, if you don't know who Cam Coleman is, he's been hiding away at Auburn. Look, if you know SEC, if you watch SEC football, if you're in the weeds of it, and you watch those 5 and 7 teams that Auburn's been throwing out there, you know who Cam Coleman is. Okay, he is a awesome receiver, 5-star coming out of high school, and has been tucked away in Auburn, Alabama. The last 2 years, 93 catches, 1,306 yards, and 13 touchdowns. Now, that's across 2 seasons, and that's with guys like Jackson Arnold and Ashton Daniels throwing in the ball. Okay, imagine if we had some real quarterback play, which he's going to Texas to get. Arch Manning is in year 2 of the starting quarterback position. I think this is really going to help their offense a lot. He is a freak of nature, Cam Coleman is. Think about Zach Branch going to UGA. Now, obviously, Zach Branch and Cam Coleman are totally different players. They're not the same size. They're not the same receiver. But the type of impact that Zach Branch had at UGA is the type of impact I think Cam Coleman's going to be having at Texas. So make sure you guys pay attention to what Cam Coleman will do. I think he's arguably the number 1 player in the portal. I think he's going to have the best impact, and he's going to make Texas a dangerous team. Number 2, Darian Mensah. Look, if you've been living under a rock, if you don't pay attention to college football, Darian Mensah was the quarterback at Duke this past season, and then before that was the quarterback at Tulane. He had a really good season at Duke. His stats last year at Duke, 3,973 yards, 34 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So he was re-signed to Duke. Well, basically, if you know the rules, right? You go in there, we can take whoever we want. That's what Miami did. Doesn't matter if you're signed. And now Darian Mensah is going to Miami. With those stats, he had 500 attempts, 500 pass attempts last year. He had the most pass attempts in the ACC. So he's used to, got to silence the phone, got ESPN notifications. Detroit, if you didn't know, Detroit's losing their bowl game. We'll talk about that a little later. But he's used to carrying the load. He's used to having to throw the ball out. Well, guess what? He's going to Miami. He's got Mark Fletcher. He's got Malachi Toney. He's going to have a good offensive line. I think the pressure of having to be the only guy on the team notable is going to be taken off. I think he's going to be really good. 3rd year in a row, Miami's having a transfer quarterback. Obviously, Cam Ward, Carson Beck, and now Darian Mensah. Number 3, Prince Will Umam. I'm not going to try to mispronounce the last name here, so we're not going to do that. But Prince Will going to LSU. He's from Ole Miss. He had 9 sacks last year at Ole Miss and 13 tackles for loss as well. If you didn't know, this guy was at Nebraska the 2 years before. He was at Ole Miss last year. Not sure what they were doing with him at Nebraska, but this is his 4th year of college football. And this is big because LSU is losing Harold Perkins, so they're going to need a plug-and-play guy in on the edge spot. He's familiar with Lane Kiffin, and to think about, he's going to go in there with a guy like Whit Weeks playing behind him at linebacker. Blake Baker is renowned for being one of the best defensive coordinators in the country right now. So I think this is a really good pickup for the LSU Tigers and Lane Kiffin. Just checking out the chat. No, there's no. I don't like the names I'm being seen in the chat. All right, number 4, Byron Brown. Now, I may be higher on this guy than a lot of other people, but Byron Brown was a quarterback at South Florida. He's been there for 4 years, so this would be his 5th year of college football. He's really only played 2 complete seasons. He had some injury-plagued years. So this past season, 2025 and 2023, are his 2 full seasons. But across the 4 years, he's got 7,690 passing yards, 61 passing touchdowns to 19 interceptions. He's also ran for 2,265 yards and 31 touchdowns. This past season, he ran for 1,000 alone. So he knows Alex Golish's offense. He's going to be familiar with him. He's a big guy, 6'3", 230 pounds. I may be higher on him than others. I may talk about this a little later. I'm kind of high on Auburn. I think Auburn is going to be better than what we've seen with Hugh Freeze. I think they're going to have a different attitude, and I think it starts with this guy at quarterback. I'm just saying, he could be real dangerous. Number 5, Jordan Seaton. Now, this is an offensive lineman. You know, we're not going to have a lot of stats, but what I will tell you, he's been two years at Colorado. He was a 5-star coming out of high school. Freshman All-American his first year at Colorado, and last year he had a 91.4 pass block grade per PFF. Number 1 out of all offensive linemen. Look, they've got 3 people on this list, LSU does. They're going to need offensive linemen to protect the quarterback, and this is one of the best offensive linemen you could get anywhere. And so that's where he ends up, is LSU. Everyone would have wanted him, and I think that's a big impact there that they're going to have in Baton Rouge. Number 6, Chaz Coleman. Now, this is a freshman last year from Penn State. Didn't play a lot of games. Only played in 5 games last season, or appeared in 5 games. 2 fumble recoveries, a forced fumble, a pass deflection, 8 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and a sack. So he's stuffing the stat sheet in those 5 games. Now, Penn State obviously kind of fell off last year, so he wasn't really participating a lot. But he was a high recruit. He's following Jim Knowles to Tennessee, so he's familiar with the defensive coordinator. And Tennessee had a rough defense last year, right? So he's going to go in there and know the coach and kind of make an impact, because there's not a lot of defensive edge players at Tennessee that were worth anything last year, right? So he's going to be coming there making an immediate impact, I think. Watch out for him. That's all I'm going to tell you. Number 7, Sam Levitt. Personally, like going into this past season, I wasn't really that high on Sam Levitt, and he didn't really get to do anything. He only played 7 games. Arizona State was kind of out of the mix. He didn't have bad stats this season. He only has just over 60% completion percentage in his career. That's going to go up. But I put him here because I believe he will make a huge impact in a Lane Kiffin offense. I think Lane Kiffin obviously has a lot to do with this. It's going to make everything a lot easier for him. So I have mildly to mildly high expectations for him because of the coach and where he's going. He's going to have a good offensive line as well. I'll talk about that with the number 5 pick there. Damon Wilson II at number 8. This is a former Georgia Bulldog, and he spent the last season at Missouri. Chaser, first-team bag chaser. Okay, if you don't know this guy's story, he is, kind of getting sued by Georgia because he owes money there. He went to Missouri. Now he's at Miami, who obviously we know spends a lot of money on players. But on the football field, the guy's a beast. Last year at Missouri, had 9 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. This is his 4th year in college football, so he's super experienced. He is going to probably be the fastest guy in the ACC on the defensive side of the ball in terms of the front sevens. This guy is quick, can get from side to side easy. He's going to wreak havoc against ACC offensive linemen. I'm telling you right now, he's going to be a star. My number 9, Drew Mestemaker. This guy was a quarterback for North Texas last season. Look, if you haven't heard this guy's story, it is actually insane. He basically didn't play football at all in high school. Like, he was a backup the entire time, and then got to North Texas, was the 5th-string quarterback, and somehow when the season started around, he became the starter. Last year threw for 4,379 yards, first in the FBS, 34 total touchdowns, 69% completion percentage. Just incredible. It was an awesome season for North Texas, and now his coach left, Eric Morris, so now he's going to Oklahoma State with his head coach. He's playing Big 12 defenses. He's 6'4", 210. I think he'll fit in perfect with Oklahoma State, and I don't know if I want to call Oklahoma State like a Big 12 title contender, but I think the offense will do pretty well. And to round out my top 10, it's going to be Justice Haynes. Look, this guy was the best running back in college football last year before he got hurt at Michigan. Let me tell you his 2025 game log. We've got 159 yards, 125 yards, 104 yards, 149 yards, 117 yards, 51 yards, and 152 yards, 10 touchdowns, 7 yards a carry. And that's like in 8 games. He got hurt, and it kind of really sucked for Michigan. They could have really used him down the stretch, and maybe have, who knows, beat Ohio State. That's a whole different discussion. But I think this is a really underrated gift for Justice Haynes. It's one that nobody's really talking about. So that is my top 10. Look, if you've got your own top 10, I'd love to see it. But that's where I rounded out. I really like where I've got out front, and we're going to go